Becky Lynch, the man, Big Time Bex, a name synonymous with modern WWE, a trailblazer who has reached incredible heights. She's one of the most popular and successful superstars of her generation. Why is it that a portion of the WWE fan base, her name also elicits such a strong, sometimes negative reaction? Why does Becky Lynch have some fans talking about her, and why do they hate her? Today we are cutting through the noise and the hot takes. We're not just looking at the service level complaints, we're digging deep to uncover what could be the real underlying reason some WWE fans just have a lot of animosity towards her, as she is one of WWE's biggest stars. From her beloved underdog to dominant champion and polarizing big-time persona, Becky Lynch's evolution has been complex. Did her journey to the top or her character shifts along the way create a division and divide the WWE faithful? Is the hate really about Becky Lynch herself, or does it reflect something deeper about fan expectations, booking decisions, or even nature of modern wrestling fandom? We're exploring all of the angles. This is the real reason some WWE fans hate Becky Lynch. Early career and setbacks. Originally wrestling as Rebecca Knott's, Lynch faced early career struggles, including a significant injury that caused her to step away from wrestling for years. Okay. She eventually returned to wrestling and ultimately got signed by WWE. Rise of the Man. Despite being part of the women's revolution, she often felt like an underdog. But in the end, it was a pivotal moment at SummerSlam 2018 where she attacked Charlotte Flair, and that led to a crowd embracing her and really embracing her rebellious the man persona, even though WWE initially intended her to be a villain. An accidental injury later furthered her popularity. So we can all thank Charlotte Flair, who everyone just absolutely hates, and Nia Jax punching her in the face on an episode of Monday Night Raw, breaking her orbital bone and causing her to miss out on a Survivor Series showdown with Ronda Rousey. Ultimately, Charlotte Flair once again taking her spot and working Ronda. Now, let's get into the next point, because she reached the peak of her career and I believe popularity when she won the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships in the main event of WrestleMania 35. She did so going over Charlotte, going over Ronda. This was Ronda's last match as she went on a hiatus before returning a few years later. This was the first ever women's WrestleMania main event in history. It was a monumental moment. It was a huge moment for all those involved and really for women's wrestling in Becky Lynch's career. And I don't think she's necessarily hit the same peak that she was in 2018 since then. She's always gotten close, but never to that overness level, in my opinion. Shift in fan perception. You got to keep in mind that once Lynch achieved massive success and won and really became the top star and no longer an underdog, some fans who had supported her as an underdog began to turn on her, no longer seeing her relatable, because everyone wants to root against the New York Yankees. But once you become the New York Yankees, once you find success, people don't want to root for you. I've heard this before, and I'll say it to you. People only want to root for people who are not doing as good as them. But once you start doing better than them, they no longer want to see you succeed. They want to see you fall, because they don't want to look in the mirror and look at their own reality and fix their own reality. Another piece of advice I've heard is those who try to get more money is because they don't have money. Those who do have money are not necessarily worried about making enough money where it crushes the other side, right? And so just keep in mind that just because you were once a Becky Lynch fan doesn't mean that you're always going to be a Becky Lynch fan. Big Time Bex. Do you remember this era? After returning from her pregnancy in 2021 at SummerSlam, really just going in there and squashing Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title at the time, she started to adapt a more arrogant persona called Big Time Bex, which further divided the fan base. Well, why did they not like this? Well, I think two reasons. Number one, she went heel when, as soon as she came back, fans were like, okay, we're going to get Becky Lynch back, boom, she's back. Hey, this is great. We're going to go back to, 2020, 2019. And then all of a sudden she turns heel. And they're like, "Well, this is not what we want." And then that character was god awful, right? I've always said and made the analogy that it was a female version of Seth Rollins's over-the-top persona that was watered down and did not work. Now, keep in mind, this was during a Vince McMahon era in which creative was absolutely horrendous. I put this gimmick on him, all right? I think it was his idea to turn her. I think it was his idea to give her this character. It's like, well, if it worked for Seth, why can't it work for Becky? They're married. It just didn't work. And I think fans resented her for it. And I think they resented the company for it as well. Core argument for hate. I think the animosity some fans feel towards Becky Lynch is because she has maintained her top position in the company. Her sustained success and confidence can be intimidating and it can be alienated to those who initially supported her underdog journey. Because think about it like this: you usually go with people and look up to people and want to see people succeed who are not getting the opportunities that you think that they are. And once they start going over and once they start winning championships and consistently booked in the main event, well, you get used to it and it just becomes a norm. You want to see new people come up and succeed. I think case in point, you have a situation in this past WrestleMania, right? So Becky Lynch, she opts to not re-sign with WWE in May of 2024. She goes on a hiatus. She starts filming some Hollywood projects, and she reportedly signs late in 2024. Her return kept getting delayed. Initially, we thought, okay, she's going to be at the Raw on Netflix premiere, and that didn't happen in January. And then people thought, well, in the Royal Rumble in February, she'll show up, and that didn't happen. The people were like, well, she'll show up before Elimination Chamber, and that didn't happen. And so WWE had booked Lyra Valkyria and Bayley to challenge Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the women's tag team titles, and they took Bayley out of the match the night before. Now, Bayley is a fan favorite star. People were looking forward to seeing her and Lyra mixing up with the tag team champions. And once they did that backstage segment where Bayley was attacked and Becky came out there and replaced Bayley, there was a big time backlash. Well, why is that? Because people love Bayley. When you have a baby face and that baby face gets screwed over, fans are not going to take it well. They never do, right? That's why it's called heat, right? Like, that's why villains do that. You don't do babyface attack on the babyface attack and then they stay babyface. No, they turn heel. They get heat. They invoke emotion and hatred and anger. And so when they did that and Becky was, on the receiving end of that, yeah, people got pissed off about it, and rightfully so. You have to take in emotion. You have to take in reality. You have to take in the fact that people absolutely love Bayley. And now WWE's in a situation in which fans feel like Lyra Valkyria is being taken advantage of because they're bringing in Becky Lynch, right? They have Becky Lynch attack her. Now, I understand at Backlash, you had Lyra Valkyria not only go over, but retain the women's IC title over Becky Lynch. And that was a big time move. But the problem is, it was kind of a cheap win. It was a quick roll up, right? And a lot of people thought, well, Lyra just got one over on Becky Lynch. And in the end of the day, they're going to have Becky Lynch go over her. Now, that may be true. That may not be true.